get my 6. What? No, I'm not selfishly, shamelessly self-promoting that you can purchase my potential Bigfoot Sasquatch field research kits from my Etsy store, the link of which is in the description box below. Kicking it old school. What? No, I'm not shamelessly self-promoting my self-designed t-shirts, which are available on Teespring, the link of which is just below the video. I'm kicking it old school. During the course of this video, I want you to look for something very specific. It's something that was discussed, part of the main theme of yesterday's video, and no, it's not a seagull. It is not a seagull. While we stare at trees, not me, don't look at me, just listen, stare at the trees, I'm going to read you a letter. I mentioned in yesterday's video that we did not renew our P.O. box, okay, in town. And again, and the Howard family, I particularly want to thank. You've sent us several gifts, and it was good to see Timothy commenting that he understood, and you're going to continue to gift us with prayers and well wishes, and we're more than happy to accept that from you, Howard family, and everybody else. You guys sent us so much stuff, and we've gone out of our way to try to use as much of it as possible, but it's taken up an entire room. We're not hoarders, and on our behalf, if you feel like gifting somebody, you know, the holidays are coming up, put some change in the buckets outside for the Salvation Army. Think of somebody, listen, you know somebody specifically in your life who's having some issues right now, maybe needs a little bit of extra help. Bless them and don't tell them it was you. Okay, go out of your way to do a good deed and keep it a secret. Don't get caught. Do that for us. Okay, now with that said, I have a letter I'm going to read today. It wasn't a growl, that was a coffee burp. Excuse me for that. Ironically, the last day we went down, cleared out our mailbox, there was a letter, and this letter has a timely message. And I want to read this to you here while we stare at trees as a group. Okay? I was scared to even open it because it didn't have a return address. And it's not signed. So I can't give credit to whoever wrote this. Wow. Do you hear that truck going down that 4-lane interstate highway that's right in front of my house? The letter's dated October 12. Lady called me Mr. Lake. My name's Kevin, or Crazy Lake, if you insist. I don't know why they call me that. But I want to read this letter to you. Okay? Keep looking. Mr. Lake, first off, I had no idea you had a YouTube channel. I discovered you by way of your novel, The Lunatic. No, this isn't a shameless self-promotion of my totally awesome book, The Lunatic, that has already changed lives, and this is proof of it. This individual is self-promoting it. Listen, hear her out. I discovered you by way of your novel, The Lunatic, a book which was recommended to me by my adult son. I'm actually contacting you because of the book, but first I want to let you know I've been binge watching your videos for the last 2 weeks since having finished reading The Lunatic. After reading your book, I suspected you were a genius, and after having watched your YouTube channel, I'm convinced you are. I don't even need to read any more of this letter. I mean, she just said enough right there. But I will continue. Okay, on to the book. Again, my reason for writing. I was surprised to receive an email from my son a little more than a month ago because, you see, we have been estranged for about 6 months. His email was simple. It said, "Mom, if you are willing to take the time to read this book in its entirety, I would be willing to speak with you. I love you." And then he signs his name, and under his name was a link which took me to your book on Amazon. It's available on Amazon in print and Kindle, or you could get it from our Etsy store, and it will come to you with a personalized autograph from me and a really cool bookmark. I'll admit that I was hesitant to even give your book a try after reading some of the reviews which warned of extreme foul language and sexual innuendos, because frankly, that's not my cup of tea. I believe that whatever happens between consenting adults in their bedroom should stay between said consenting adults and in the bedroom. However, after having read your novel, I realized 2 things. Number 1, the story would not have had the profound impact on the reader that it did without all of that adult language and all those adult situations in it. And number 2, the people who left those reviews obviously spend their time in the children's literature section at the library, and they probably don't have too much going on in their bedrooms anyway. Her words, not mine. I am so thankful my son recommended your book to me, and it is time for me to tell you why. I swear to God, Mr. Lake, the entire time I read your book, I felt as if you'd written that story about me and my family and our situation. You see, I am a post-middle-aged woman who has spent her life working her ass off to take care of my 2 children, both now adults, and unfortunately, I spent that last 10 years working my ass off to take care of my deadbeat lunatic husband who has never lifted a finger to contribute to this household. However, your book, The Lunatic, allowed me to see the main root of my husband's problem. Is he lazy? Yes. Is he the king of excuses? Yes. Is he self-centered, manipulative, and only views other people's worth as having to do with what they can do for him? Yes, yes, and yes. You guys are really going to have to be watching back there because, as you can tell, the sun is coming off of this white paper and it's blinding me. I'm blinded by the light. Wrapped up like a... Well, further lyrics might not be appropriate for this platform. Mr. Lake, I have known for some time that my husband is ill. About 5 years ago, we nearly got a divorce, but we did not because of 2 reasons. We decided that we would make a scenery change of sorts, and we moved. And secondly, I demanded he get therapy. My husband went to a few sessions, and then his counselor fired him. Why? Because my husband was manipulating the counselor. The counselor diagnosed my husband with antisocial personality disorder, a term that, as your novel The Lunatic points out, used to be referred to as sociopathy. The doctor explained to my husband and me that antisocial personality disorder is a condition that can be treated. He told us that people who have it are not bad people, but that the condition, if left untreated, causes them to do bad things. Very well put. He used the example of addiction, stating that alcoholics, for example, are not bad people. They are people who have an addiction, which, if active, causes them to do bad things. He further explained to us that just as alcoholism is treatable, so is antisocial personality disorder. He further went on to explain that the person suffering the condition can only get better if they seek help and they actually want the help. He explained how it didn't matter how much people around the one who suffers the addiction might want them to get help. If they don't want help and aren't honest when seeking the help, it doesn't matter and the help will never work. The counselor pointed out that the difference between an alcoholic and a drunk is that an alcoholic wants and receives help, even if they drink again, as alcoholism is a relapsable disease by nature, and a drunk does not seek or receive help. He then said that in our situation, the difference between someone with antisocial personality disorder and a sociopath is that someone with antisocial personality disorder is receiving help and actively making efforts to amend their behaviors, whereas a sociopath does neither. The counselor told us he refused to work with my husband because he knew my husband was manipulating him with that antisocial personality disorder charm that all sociopaths use to manipulate people. He referred us to 2 other counselors who specialize in treating people with antisocial personality disorder, but to date, these 5 years later, my husband hasn't called either of them. He's not sought treatment for his condition. He simply continues to live the way he's always lived, and it has affected everyone around him and around us. Our neighbors not only don't speak to us, they go out of their way to avoid us. This because of the numerous times my husband has manipulated them, only to insult them afterward in a litany of ways, because why not? As he sees it, he'd already gotten what he wanted out of them. I'm staring in the screen right now, but I can't see anything. I am blinded by the light, wrapped up like a dream on the cover of the night. My friends and co-workers refuse to come to my house because they cannot stand to be around my husband. He refuses to get a job because he views work as being beneath him, and I work in a field that does not pay a lot of money, and I've worked too hard for too long to have too little to show for it all because I've been supporting him 100% despite the fact that, like me, he is well into his 50s. My family has been affected the most. I'm barely on speaking terms with my daughter, who, after having graduated college, has only come to see me at my house 3 times, and this is over a period of 5 years. She will not come here because she cannot stand to be in the presence of her stepfather. And as for my son, as I've already mentioned, we had been estranged for the past 6 months because, as he put it, he could not continue to stand by and watch my life go down the toilet because of my unwillingness to separate from my husband. And then I read your book, and I feel as if the scales have fallen off of my eyes on the road to Damascus. Mr. Lake, I am nearing 60, and I'm on my 2nd marriage. For the last 5 years, my gut has told me that I need to leave my husband, not because he is mentally ill, but because he refuses to seek help for his mental illness. The main reason I have not left is because this is my 2nd marriage, and just like the character in your book, the lunatic, who was married to the lunatic in the book, I've been too fearful of what my friends, co-workers, and everyone who knows me would think of me if I ended up getting a 2nd divorce. However, I no longer have those concerns after having read your book. I may not be as young as I used to be, but I'm in good health and I have a lot of life left. I've decided that I would rather spend the rest of my life alone than to spend another day with the lunatic to whom I'm married, but who in reality is nothing more than a non-contributing roommate. I hope that enough people read your book that a major impact on the world of mental health can be made. We live in a time where there is more than enough help available for those who suffer from mental illness. But from now on, in my situation at least, I'm not focusing on the one with the condition who chooses not to get treatment. I am focusing on me. My son and I have devised a plan, and I will not tell you. And what I will tell you is that one day, and one day soon, my husband is going to find out that he is no longer going to be my husband. I don't want to give away any specifics of our plan because I actually want to invite you to read my letter to your viewers on your YouTube channel. I hope that the strength I've found through reading your book, The Lunatic, to prepare myself to make the best change in my life very soon can inspire others who are in a similar situation to make the same choice. Again, my heart, like yours, goes out to anyone and everyone who suffers from mental illness. But having paid the price for far too long by living with someone who does the same and refuses help, my heart goes out to all of those who have suffered as family members, neighbors, and friends, more than likely former friends, I'll add, as well. And soon, very soon, I am taking my life back, despite my age and despite having been married twice. We always hear that life is short, What I will tell you to end this is that I have found out that life is too long to be miserable. And when the misery is caused by someone else, it's inexcusable not to do the right thing and protect yourself and simply walk away. 10 years, the last 5 of which I've known the truth about what I need to do, has been too long to be miserable, and I can't imagine spending the next, realistically speaking, 30 years suffering the same misery, and I am not going to. Like I said, my son and I have a plan, and it will be executed soon, and I will be free. Mr. Lake, I cannot thank you enough for writing your wonderful novel, and I can't reiterate enough to your viewers that every last one of them needs to read it. Sincerely, a fan. P.S. I loved how you so accurately portrayed exactly how the disgusting media portrayed the events of the tragedy toward the end of the book. Spot on. Well, I can't give you a shout out, and I can't say thanks for you keeping me from having to shamelessly self-promote my book. Again, available on Amazon and print or Kindle, or from Etsy. Links for both places are in the description box below. I'm proud of you, whoever you are. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me for 5 years. I'm glad you're finally taking action. So, did you guys see it? That thing you were specifically supposed to watch for during this entire video? Something that was a general theme in yesterday's video? Look, let me make it even easier. This means potentially it's in this area. This means it's definitely right there. I mean, I invented this kit. It's how it works. And if you still can't see it, we've got the green arrow, which means right there. I can't make it any clearer. Oh, wait. You don't have a very good angle. Let me fix this. It's the tripod I lost. I found it. You'll never believe where it was. You know, I always leave it here leaning against this tree. And this is, look, it's bent and broken. I leave it here as backup in case I forget the main tripod that I like to bring. Well, it was on the other side of the tree. Silly me. Maybe that's why they call me Crazy Lake. Whatever. See you for more next time.